Around 5,000 puffins who breed in Wales are thought to have died during the winter storms of last year. Research carried out by Gloucester University on Skomer Island off the Pembrokeshire coast shows winter gales in January and February saw a quarter of the birds die out at sea. More now from our environment correspondent Yola Abdavid.
Every summer, puffins descend on the islands of Skomer and Stockholm, an estimated 20,000 of them. After a winter out in the Atlantic, they return here to breed and feed in the waters near our coast. But last winter took a toll on most seabirds that were out in the open waters of the ocean. We reported in February that dozens of razorbills and guillemots were washed up dead on beaches in Pembrokeshire. The fear now is there'll be 5,000 fewer puffins in Wales.
As the severe weather rolls in for this winter, we're beginning to get a clearer picture of the impact of last winter's storms. In terms of research on puffins, it may be that a quarter of them may have been lost. It could be the worst year on record.
Annual research has been done on Skomer and Stockholm for the past 42 years. Between April and August, researchers look for rings and tags on puffins returning to the islands. This year, puffins bred later than usual, and it was obvious there were a lot fewer of them. Some 50,000 seabirds are estimated to have died out to sea and were washed up dead along the coast of northwest Spain and France. A lot of them puffins who would have returned here.
About a quarter of the birds that we would have expected to come back never returned. So that's something like 5,000 puffins in Pembrokeshire that will have died over the course of the last winter. So we'd normally expect about 5% not to come back, relatively small numbers compared to this winter. So that was a really big hit over the course of the study.
Skomer and Stockholm are in Wales's first marine conservation zone. The announcement by the Welsh Government will secure funding for marine monitoring on the islands for the next 12 to 18 months. But there's precious little that can be done to combat the forces of nature.
I think we've got to be concerned. These severe weather events could have a significant effect over a number of years, but you're not unduly worried because seabirds are very resilient, and we know from previous events like the Sea Empress oiling disaster that they do bounce back pretty quickly. They only need to reproduce themselves once in 20 years or so.
Puffins will still draw day trippers by the boatloads to Skomer. During the summer months, 250 people a day cross from St Martin's Haven. There'll be fewer puffins and other seabirds in Wales next year, even before this winter's gales.